I'm happy for baseball. I look at, I don't know what I'm looking at that makes me think it's in decline, but it certainly is in decline in terms of revenues and everything else. Things are going great.
Things are booming, and I remember Roger Daltrey, by the way, Joe, so don't feel bad. No, I mean, they're setting records. Last year they had roughly $10 billion in revenue. It was the 16th consecutive year that the revenues had grown. And the Angels, by the way, aren't hurting either. Their revenues last year were roughly $340 million. So oddly enough, this $36 million per year contract for Trout is only roughly about 10% of their payroll. They need to step up and make sure their farm system is strong and so forth. But baseball is not going to be hurting because of this contract.
I learned a lot this morning, Pat, getting ready for you about winter available replacements.
Wins above replacement.
Wins above replacement.
Yes.
And is it voodoo or is it real? Because this guy is off the charts.
No, it's not voodoo. Bill James, who speaks at the MIT Sports Analytics every year, the big conference that they have in March, this is something that is a true statistic, a very accurate statistic. And just to put it in perspective, this means how many wins is a player generating above a average replacement player. Mike Trout, through his first 7 years in Major League Baseball, he's got 7 full seasons. He's got 65 wins above replacement. That is more than Ty Cobb. That is more than Mickey Mantle. It is the most of all time. And in fact, you could argue that with Bryce Harper of now the Philadelphia Phillies getting a deal recently of $330 million, Harper only generates about 4 wins above replacement a year. Trout is arguably, get a hold of this, underpaid.
I know. They said it could be $10 million a year per win, and it's gone as high as 15 or something. So people are using the B word at some point in the not too distant future for someone to sign a contract. If it's long enough, it could be $1 billion or at least over $500 million. They thought it might happen now. Some people are saying that this was a disappointing number, but it's hard to imagine.
Well, let me add this, is that this is obviously an outlier. The last 2 seasons during the baseball free agent season during the winter, there's actually been a suppression of salaries because the analytics people are taking over the GM roles and the executive roles of baseball, and they would much rather have younger players that have less than 6 years of service. They're not free agents yet. They're young, they're cheap, and they're durable. You're seeing a lot of these veteran free agents the last 2 years, guys that are over 30 in this era where the sport is cleaner, are not getting very long contracts and not very large contracts. So the Harpers, the Trouts, they are definitely outliers, Joe.
But there also seem to be less comfort in being a free agent, a bird in the hand with your team. I've always liked that. I mean, it killed me when Rose became a Philly. You know what I mean? So it's nice to see a guy play his whole career, but I mean, it doesn't make sense a lot of times. But they're doing that more now, aren't they? Why?
Well, they are. And the one thing that I'll point out with the 3 big signings, Joe, that just took place, obviously Trout, obviously Harper, and let's not forget Manny Machado in San Diego. What's interesting is that with all 3 teams, their farm systems are really strong. So that means that these teams, especially the Padres and the Phillies that went out and got these new players, these free agents, and brought them in, they're willing to make that investment because they know they have a lot of young, cheap players coming through the farm system that they can hopefully match up with the star.
So where's the future for the MLB? Is it streaming or is it regional networks, or where's it going to be generated? Because I mean, ticket sales are down, right? But then you got these fancy boxes where people go and pay a lot more, and it's a great night out, too, even if it's 0-1-0.
Well, that's right. Attendance is a little bit down, but ticket prices are higher, and there's more luxury suites and more premium seats. So the ticket revenues have been relatively flat. But you hit it right on the head, Joe. It's a combination of baseball is mostly a local regional sport where most of the teams, their regional TV deals, they're the highest rated program in their markets. But they just signed a deal, a 3-year, $300 million deal with DAZN, and that's a streaming service. The millennials, the Gen Zers, that's how they consume content. And let's not forget that currently Fox, ESPN, Turner, they pay $1.5 billion for Major League Baseball annually. They're going to re-up those deals in 2022, and I bet you those rights deals will go higher because they got to worry about competition from Twitter, YouTube, and the like.